Hey, good morning, options traders. Well, I just wanted to revisit a rule that I've talked about in previous videos, but it probably wasn't made as pronounced as it should be, and I think a lot of times traders overlook the importance of this thing that we call the 80% rule for rolling. And rolling is probably the most powerful technique, certainly one of them, that you have as an options trader. Especially for all of the new traders out there, it can help you to get into profitable territory much sooner. It can also allow you to reduce that fear and hold out for bigger profits. But you have to understand when to roll and why we roll. So first, remember what rolling is. It means you are going to roll your call options up. So maybe you own the $100 call. You might sell the 100 and buy the 105. You've just swapped it out. You've rolled up in strike. Put options work the opposite. You're going to roll your puts down. So maybe you purchased the $100 put, stock has now moved in your favor, it's dropping a little bit. You might sell that 100 put and swap it out with a 95. Turn around and buy that 95. So what you've done is you have rolled down in strike. Now the thing about rolling, whether we're talking about calls or puts, is that you will always produce credits. This last bullet point is critical. It's one of the main points of this video. You always get a credit when you roll. And sometimes this throws traders and they go, well, how is that possible? Well, there's a couple of option pricing principles at the heart of this, and I do teach them in Strategy Lab and Alpha Trader. There's a lot of different ones that will help you to make better decisions with options. But this particular principle says that lower strike calls must be more expensive than higher strikes. And the reason is it gives you the right to pay less money. Now, this is assuming that we have the same expiration date. So let's say that we're in our broker's platform and we're looking at the May 100 call and the May 105 call. I don't even need to bring up a broker's platform. I can tell you right now, for sure, the May 100 call trades at a higher price. It has to. And that's because it's giving you the right to pay less for the stock should you choose to exercise. So yes, if you sell the 100 call and buy the 105, you're receiving more money than what you're spending, and that's going to generate a credit. Put options work the opposite. There, higher strike puts will always be more expensive. So if you have the May 100 put and you have the May 95 put, I can tell you without even looking at a broker's platform, the May 100 put must trade at a higher price. And that's because it's giving you the right to sell your shares for a higher price should you exercise. So if you sell this May 100 put and you buy the 95 put, you're selling one that's worth a lot more than the one you're buying, and yes, it's going to produce a credit. They must always produce credits. There's actually what's called an arbitrage opportunity if these principles don't hold, which is a way for people to get free money in the markets. So needless to say, they don't exist. And this is another way to understand why you must always get credits. However, sometimes new traders misinterpret this, and it sets up a trap. And here's why. Traders will often hear that you should roll when you can get a credit. They don't realize that you're always getting a credit. That's not the trick, but that's the way that they think. And so what happens is that they end up taking a lot of small credits. And so they'll say, well, you know, the opening bell rang and I looked and gee, lo and behold, I could get a credit. So you know what? I took it. And then I came back from lunch and I could still get another credit. It was my lucky day. So I rolled it again. And they don't realize that they will always get credits. You could execute these roll-ups second after second after second, and you will always get credits. So what happens is that they inadvertently end up rolling into very far out of the money options, and they end up with virtually a losing trade and never got anywhere. The thing to remember is that rolling always produces credits. So no, you don't roll just because at a given moment in time you can get a credit. That's not the deciding factor. So to show this, let's jump over to the E-Trade platform. So now over in the E-Trade platform, I'm going to use Microsoft, close at about 210. And we've got the December 24's 33 days to expiration. And let's just start with this 210 strike, the at the money, trading for 680. I'm going to look at the mark, which is the halfway point between the bid and the ask. That's probably where you could get these trades filled. So notice that 680 is the price of the 210, but if we just go down one more row, this is the 212.5 strike. It's a higher strike and therefore it's cheaper. Price falls to 550. We go to the next row, it falls to 455, falls, falls, falls. Each successively higher strike call must get cheaper. Over on the puts, we get the opposite. Down here at the bottom, we have a mark of 25.12, but if we go to a lower strike put, the price drops, 22.72, and then 20, 18, 16, cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. Look at this. Each successive row gets cheaper. This is why your rolls always produce credits. Now, what's going to happen if you just rolled every single second? Well, let's take a look. Let's go back to the 210 strike here for 680. Let's say you bought it and immediately turned around and rolled it to the 212.5 for a 550. That's going to produce a $1.30 credit. And then you turned right around and rolled to the 215. And then you rolled to the 217.5, and you rolled all the way down here to the 235 strike. What would happen? Well, here are the strikes and the prices reproduced from that E-Trade platform. So notice if you roll from the 210 to the 212.5, you're going to get a $1.30 credit, as we saw. You could turn right around the next second and roll to the 215 for a 95-cent credit. Then you could roll to the 217.5 for a $1.24 credit, and so on. Look at all these credits, 76 cents, 46, 32, all the way down. And so if you did that in succession very rapidly, you would end up with a credit of 630. But look what happened. You initially paid 680. You ended up with an option worth 50 cents. What's the difference? 630. All you did is kind of make change going from the 210 to the 235. You may as well have just bought the 235 for 50 cents and saved the commissions. See, it doesn't gain anything to just roll just because you're getting credits. That's the big mistake. So graphically, here's what happens. Let's say that you bought the $100 call for 5 and you roll for maybe 50 cents. And in your mind, you're thinking, hey, it's cash, might as well get it off the table. I still own a call option. No, remember, there are always trade-offs. You've gone from the 100 strike to the 105. Notice we've changed the bend from the point at 100 to 105. But you've only shifted up by 50 cents. And because this is a $5 roll, you must have shifted your break-even point further out by the balance of 450. Notice at this price right here, 450 plus 50 cents equals the difference in strikes. So the big trap that traders step into when they take these small rolls, for 50 cents or $1, is that they're just shoving this break-even point further and further out, making it much less likely for them to make money. There's just no real benefit in doing it. So the thing that we usually tell traders is to roll when you can receive about 80% of the difference in strikes. Now you might think, well, why 80%? Why not 100%? Why not wait for the full $5? Well, in theory, that's better, but if you want to wait for the full $5, you'll wait all the way until expiration. And now what can happen is the stock price can move against you. So again, it's a trade-off. We want to get the bulk of that money off the table, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to try to hold out for that full $5 difference. So for instance, let's say that you sell your $100 call and buy the 105 call. This is your roll. That's a $5 difference in strikes, and 80% of this $5 difference is 4. So what you want to do is wait for this trade right here, selling the 100 call and buying the 105 call, to trade for a credit of 4. Not 2, not 375, 4. And when you see it trading for 4, or at least really close, I mean, if you can get 390, might not be a bad idea, but you definitely don't want to be doing it for these small 50 and 70 cent credits that people take. So in this case, if we roll from the $100 call to the 105, what did we do? What's different? Well, now, here's the same $100 strike purchased for 5, and when I roll to the 105, look at the difference. See, now I've raised this lower portion here, this maximum loss, by the amount of the credit, by $4. I used to have a maximum loss of 5, now it's only $1. And that's really the main reason for doing the roll, is to shift this maximum loss portion to smaller and smaller maximum losses. Now, of course, there's a trade-off. Yes, I had to shift my break-even point forward by the balance, by $1. But do you see how I've gotten the bulk of that roll to my advantage? I've reduced the cost basis by 4 and only increased the break-even point by $1. But you do exactly the opposite when you're taking small rolls. You're not doing much for your downside hedge, and you're doing tremendous damage to your upside break-even. So stick with the 80% rule for rolling, and you'll see a very big difference in your options trading. For anyone who'd like to learn more about the art and science of options trading, please check out the Alpha Trader course and Strategy Lab at optionsatoz.com. Also, please join us on the Facebook trading group, Options A to Z, and you can find a link in the description below.